it's okay to have an opinion on a book, but when is it not okay to share that opinion publicly? Today, I have a conversation with Lindo Forbes and Lady Marie about yucking someone's yum, harshing someone's mellow, coming off a little strong. And it's a pretty intense conversation, but in a good way. We talk about, some of the issues with not keeping things in a group chat and how that can affect authors, readers, or the community as a whole. If you're ready, go ahead and tune in right about now. So, I would like to start with introductions and telling our audience a little bit about how you got started as an author. Um, Lady Marie, let's begin with you.
Oh gosh, I get to go first. Yay. Um, so Lady Marie, um, I I guess I got started during COVID. Like the latter part of COVID. I've always been a writer, like middle school, high school. I was always kind of doing fan fiction and, passing around little stories in English class, like, girl, read this and give it back to me at lunch. Let me know what you think. Um, but I always thought I had to be traditionally published.
Mm.
And so I got into indie romance during COVID. I started reading more indie. I was like, oh, wait, these people are publishing themselves. Can I do that? And so I kind of did a little bit of research, started writing when I was working from home and was like, oh, I can kind of multitask better this way. And it kind of just took off from there, I guess. Yeah.
Nice. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And Miss Lindo Forbes.
Hello. I have a very similar story to Lady Marie. It was during lockdown, and I didn't think that I was going to write. That wasn't on my radar. I was just reading a lot because I needed a distraction from all the police killing black and brown people indiscriminately during that time. Like I just couldn't turn on the TV. And there was no consequences for this behavior, right? Like they would just do it and be like, I don't know what happened. And you're like, we all know what happened. We just watched you do it. Um, and so I threw myself into books. I've always been a reader, even as a child. I've always been an avid reader, a bookworm. But this was like a way for sanity, basically. Like there was something else for me to focus my attention on. And I read a couple books that I liked, but they didn't end the way I wanted them to. And I was like,
Mm.
wow, if I were writing it, I would have done this. And that was like the first sort of like, well, can I do it? I can maybe. And that was sort of the first thing. And so during the same thing with Lady Marie, the tail end of lockdown, I started doodling an idea and it sort of just came to be.
Nice, nice, nice. So we're here to talk about not yucking somebody else's yum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which can mean a lot of things. And
Correct.
so let's kind of get into the nuance of that a little bit. There are so many stories out there, and obviously everything is not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's story is perfect, but there's a difference between constructive criticism and giving a review and then being a complete and utter asshole and harmful and all these other things. So how do we approach talking about a book or a story without being harsh when it's called for discussing something that's going on in that book?
Keep it in the group chat.
That
Yeah.
part.
Keep it in the
Because I
group chat.
feel like you can have these opinions with as much openness and judgment and derision as you want with your friends.
Yeah. And that's not to say that you can't critique a book. I think, especially lately, within the last like year, it's been a lot in the community of like, oh, you can't critique those books or don't say anything bad about that book or, you know, and I don't think that's necessarily the case because no book is perfect. None of the books I write are perfect. I promise you. I don't read books that are perfect except for a few of them. But it that's not to say you can't, but you
Yeah.
also need to be very intentional and conscious about how you do it if you're going to do it publicly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I
You
agree.
can say what you want in the group chat. I say what
Absolutely.
I want in the group chat all the
That
time.
part.
But that's not to say that you can't go, oh, this wasn't, executed that great. it was kind of insensitive. Like, I think that's fine. If it's an
Mhm.
intentional critique, that's fine. If you're just going to be plain out nasty, baby, tell your friend,
Yeah.
tell your homegirl.
Yeah, and I also think that there's definitely room for uh, reading is subjective. We all understand that. There's
Mm-hmm.
really super popular books that maybe you liked or maybe you didn't like, and you're like, well, everybody's raving about this book and I couldn't stand it. It was awful. And if you can acknowledge that, if you can be like, it wasn't for me, without making it be like, you all fucking suck because you like this book. You know, like
Right.
like you can acknowledge that something's just not for you without disparaging the entirety of the art, without disparaging the entirety of the manuscript. You can say, I didn't like that. Like, I'll use an example from my life. I'm not a fan of K-pop because I like the music. I like the way it sounds. I think that they work really hard. I can't watch it because I feel like it's a bit minstrelly, the way that
Mm.
they sort of like copied Black American moves and culture. And it's just not for me. And that's fine. You can love it. They work really hard. They have billions of fans. They're not missing me. And I'm not saying, right? Like, they're not missing me.
Right.
And I'm not saying you're bad for liking it. And I'm not even
Right.
Right.
saying that you shouldn't like it. Those people are so talented. All of those artists are so talented. It's not for me.
Right.
And I
And
think
that's
that
fine. Yeah.
and I think that we need to start acknowledging that every space is not for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And you step into the room and you look around and you're like, oh, I thought I belonged here, but I don't. And I'm just going to gently and politely back right on out of this door. This room is not for me.
Mm-hmm.
Let
Because
all the
I,
people in the room have fun. You guys are having a good time.
Which is why you're also supposed to have a good time. Didn't you know that?
Yeah. And I'm not having a good time here, so I gotta go. This is
that
not your
part.
responsibility to make me feel good. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to make me feel bad. But you're not supposed to make me feel like it's my responsibility. So I recognize that space is not for me. I'm just going to politely exit stage left.
I
And I
think it
think that,
also comes down to being able to have a conversation like this and be like, going back to your example,
yeah,
you are not a fan of K-pop for those reasons, and also acknowledging that, like, within that, with it. So I guess if we go to a genre, say dark romance, within dark romance, there are certain books that are really well done, while
absolutely.
others are very poorly done. So going
100%.
back to K-pop, there are some groups that are more respectful than others are. So, like, being able to have a conversation like we are now is how you constructively talk about something instead of attacking someone who does or does not like something.
Yeah.
I think also it's important though to understand that everything is not an attack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything is not an attack on your person or your preferences
Yeah.
or what you. If I don't like there, I'm gonna be very transparent here. There are popular authors
Same.
that just are not for me. They are
100%.
just not for me
Yeah.
for a wide range of reasons.
Yeah.
And each reason could be different from the one before, from the one next to
Right.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And me saying that does not mean that I'm attacking you
Yeah.
or
Mm-hmm.
that author or that group
Hmm.
because it's not for me.
That part. Yeah.
Baby, it's okay. I just don't like it. And I don't have to like it. I
Yeah.
don't like watermelon. Y'all are not going to force me to like watermelon.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to not like it. And I do feel like there's a fine line that we've crossed into with the language of mental health and self-care and self-determination, which are important things, but I think that some of the language has been co-opted. And then so if you have made this your personality, then of
Mm-hmm.
course it has become a threat to you. It has become an attack to you. It's not my personality. Like, I have other things. So you can say you don't like a thing that I like. Like, I am always going to make time for Teenagers in Peril. Any show, like basically the entire CW lineup of like the 90s. A
Yes.
Teenager in Peril. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna give you at least 6 episodes of my attention before I decide whether I'm gonna continue with it. But you've got me, Teenagers in Peril. Here I am, sitting down, ready to be there. That's, you might say at your big age, what do you care about this? I don't know. I just like Teenagers in Peril. I just like it. I
I
know
don't know
it's
why I'm
ridiculous.
still watching One Tree Hill. I don't
Why?
know.
Who knows? But
You
I
know, I
am,
never got
and I'm
into that.
here. Yes, and I'm here, and it's fine. You don't have to watch it with me. And in fact, when my husband and I first started dating, I would watch the OC religiously. And in order to shut him up while I was trying to watch my show, I'd put a pizza in his lap. Here, that was our beginning of dating. Just bring a pizza, put it in front of him. You're busy chewing. I'm watching a nice show. Okay, now it's over. You forgot what you watched, what you wanted to make your snarky comment about. You forgot because it's over now. Let's watch football. Everybody wins. Just like
Compromise.
it's it's okay. And I think a lot of people are forgetting that entertainment is not intent. Like, it's not real life. I can like I can like a book about a stalker without thinking that it's okay to stalk a person in real life. Like, I can make that distinction.
Yes.
I
I think
can,
that's what I was getting to with
yeah,
the dark romance
and I
issues.
can like a like mine like kind of man, and knowing that I would punch them in their throat if they spoke to me like that in
Right.
real life. It's entertainment, it's fantasy, and that might not crank your boat, which it doesn't have to. But that doesn't make all those like, oh, you are turning feminism back because you want a man to dominate you. No, no, no. Everybody calm down. And I think that there's this inability to make that distinction that is plaguing the romance spaces.
It's also how it's construed within the book can be problematic. So,
100%.
like,
But then
if you
to
have the
paint
stalker, are
the
you
whole
romanticizing
thing,
it? Or,
yeah, but then to paint the whole thing with that brush, like you
yeah,
said, somebody can do it so well and so compellingly, and someone can be like, "Girl, are you okay?" Like,
Right.
blink, blink twice.
You might
Like,
need to talk to that lady on the couch. I don't
yeah,
know what's
like
going
blink
on.
twice. But I think that me liking the genre enough to figure out which books I do and do not like is not an indictment of my like overall like fit for society, like my fitness for society. The way a
yeah,
lot of people are deciding, oh, you like dark romance, so this means you are a troubled person. Not specifically. You
And
like, like what I like, what I like, whatever.
and I think it's okay for just because we're friends, we don't have to like the same thing.
Yes.
yes.
I just had a discussion with a reader friend, and I don't even know how we got on this topic, but she said, "Oh, I love such and such a topic." I was like, "Oh, yeah, me too." And you know what else gets me going in a book? Lactation kink. And she was like, "Oh, that's not for me, but I love that for you."
Yeah.
And she left it there.
Draw that line.
Exactly.
Draw
She
that
left it
line.
there.
Yeah.
And that's fine because I think the beauty of reading so diversely is that you don't even realize you like these things until you interact with them in a
Yeah.
positive way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There have been books that I've read where I'm like, oh girl, you this should have taken a dress because this is, I'm scared. And then there are books where I'm like, how can I get more of this? That
Yeah.
is amazing. I want that. And again, I think, like you said, there are ways where it's done beautifully, and then there's ways where it can be problematic. It's not to say you have to give positive energy to every single dark romance or taboo romance
Mm-hmm.
or contemporary romance, like
Yeah.
historical romance that you read, because some stuff is just problematic. I think we are all very capable of adults and know what is and what is not a problematic issue. I would hope so.
Yes.
Right. So speaking of that, that kind of goes into our next question. And again, it's about the general topics that are universally known to be avoided or a little bit more problematic than others. We'll get into that a little bit later, but looking at like what topics and tropes and themes you put in your books that someone might think is yucky, do you think that that kind of happens more often than not, or is it more like you write what you write and most people, generally speaking, are like, this is okay? Or do you hit on
Um,
those little yucky topics?
I I
Quote.
don't think I write yucky topics. Yucky topics. Not yet, but
Give me
um,
time. I still got
give me
time.
give me time. I got a couple in the chamber, but I have come across, I don't read my reviews
Right. Yeah.
um, on principle, but
Same.
occasionally I'll scan, like, after a release, let me see, are people liking it or they're not liking it, and then I kind of let it go. I
Yeah.
have come across a couple where they did think it was yucky. They did not like that this married couple was getting their girlfriend, and they were like, "You're just promoting cheating." I mean, they discussed it. Everybody knows what's happening, so I don't think it's cheating. But okay,
Okay. Yeah.
that's your business.
Yeah.
Right.
Or for Cinnamon and Gold, somebody was like, "This is so classless and tacky. That's her ex's cousin. Why would she do that? And then they're in the family house, and this is disgusting." Okay, so this is not for you, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Um, I do know people tend to yuck age gaps, and I love an age gap, which is why I write age gap.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I don't come across too many people who, if they read my age gaps, they don't like them simply because everybody is a fully grown adult.
Yeah.
Everybody is in their late 20s or 30s and older. But I guess an age gap could be considered a yuck
I'm
Yeah.
topic.
I think all of those things, every single yuck needs a context.
yeah.
Because I think 10-year age gap, 15-year age gap at 25 and 40 is different at 19 and 30. You know what I mean? Like it's
But
Yes.
yes,
like every single line crossing, let's call it, whatever, like, oh, this is on the edge of what we consider acceptable,
Right. Yeah.
needs a bit of context, needs a little bit of framing, because I do think a 25-year-old and a 40-year-old, sure, there's an age gap and there's experiences and there's all the things that make age gap interesting, but at least that 25-year-old got to
Have
live a
some
little,
life experience. Some
yeah,
life
in the
experience.
way that you met her at 16 and now what you like, there's that's the thing I think that people are missing. They just are like, I read this age gap once, and he's been lusting after her since she was 14, and as soon as she turned 18, they got married. That's gross. Yeah, okay, but that's not all of them. Like, there's got to be room for that sort of nuance. You can say, I like age gap when, and then give your contexts. Like, I have a hard time with step step family.
Siblings or
Yeah,
yeah,
I,
father or stepmother. Yeah.
I can, for me, just my opinion, I can deal with it when they did not grow up together. Like, my mom married your dad, I was at the wedding, and then I fucked off to university and I never saw you again for 10 years. And now I'm back, and yes, you're my stepsister, but let's do this. I have way more grace for that than I do, like, we were opening Christmas stockings together in our jammies, and now we're gonna, like, but that's for
that's
me. Like,
so
that's
funny.
my, like,
You're
that's
right.
my
Is that
line.
siblings, aren't you?
I'm literally writing that right now. Right? Like, I literally posted a chapter today, but continue.
But you know what I mean? Like, that's my line. But that doesn't
Right.
mean it's bad or that it can't be handled well or that it can't be, like, you can't come through like, oh, there's a lot of turbulence here. Oh, but you landed the plane smoothly. It's possible. Am I gonna seek those ones out? No, but if another reader who I trust and understands my taste, like, no, I know your thing, but I promise, just give that one a shot. You know what I mean? I'm willing to do that, knowing that my line is I don't like step family where they grew up together. Um, Another yuck for me is, and it's not a yuck because there are ones that I've read that they've handled it very well, is the sort of like stalkery, kidnappy, I'm gonna make you love me. Like, I'm gonna keep you here until you love me. Like,
Like Stockholm syndrome.
Hmm.
yeah, like that. I don't always love that, but there are ones where they've landed that plane so smoothly, and you're like, I get it. I see what happened here. So I do think that within the context of whatever your hard line is, you need the context of what it is within that subgenre, and I think that's
And
what's
I,
lacking in the
yeah.
conversation.
And
Yeah.
I think, like you said, understanding where your line
Yeah.
is the key. I never thought I would enjoy a book where a girl falls in love with her godfather who's been in her life since she was born. If you had told me that, I'd be like, girl, what? You have a
Mhm.
problem. I read it, I ate it up. I said, oh, this was great.
Yeah.
I also know, though, I cannot read that topic with every author. I
Yeah.
can't read all of that author's topics either because
Mhm.
sometimes it might push the line for me a bit too much, and that's fine.
Mhm.
I think, like you said, there needs to be context, there needs to be nuance,
Mhm.
and I also think it is important to understand what the intention of the writer is. Like, are they writing this just to write it and push boundaries and make you squeamish?
Mhm.
Are they writing it with care? Are they just kind of throwing everything in there and they don't give a fuck? Like,
The layering.
what's going
That's
on
what
here?
I was gonna get to. Like, are you trope or theme layering to a point where it's like you're just pushing it and pushing it and pushing it to see
Yeah.
how far you can get before someone says something, which can either be done really well because art is like it experiments with life, right? Like
Yeah.
there are themes and situations that are happening every day, and there's things that are way too close to situations that are already problematic in everyday reality.
Yeah.
But then when you put them in a book, you can either do that very well to express and explain something that's happening and show a story, or you can romanticize it and make it more of a problem. And like, so are you stacking and creating this fiction that is causing more of a problem than like showing an issue and kind of approaching it with care, or are you like just doing it because you want people to be hate reading maybe?
Yeah, and I also
Because
think that some readers, all readers, we all do this. We are all guilty of this. It's just human nature. Will find a thing that is personal,
Mm,
right? Like they have taken this thing personally for their own reasons. Whatever thing tripped that button in their brain, and now it's personal, and then they can't separate the rest of it. I have a lot of grace for that. I understand that you can't help the thing that makes your brain go no. But I do think there's space for like an author's intention doesn't mitigate the like what happens, right? Like you might not have
mhm.
intended it to do harm.
yeah.
The harm landed anyway. Um, or there's a lot of people who read things into that the author didn't intend at all. Like I wasn't thinking about that at all, and you're attributing all these like thoughts and motivations
This
to my work
author's
that weren't. Yeah,
intentions were, I'm like,
yeah. And I was like,
actually.
like I wasn't thinking about that. Sorry, like, I wasn't trying
Very.
to do that at all. So I think that there's space to just say, um, the way the author handled it didn't work for me, as
Yeah.
opposed to putting all of your like shit in their lap. Like
Yeah.
I understand that you have a thing, and I respect that. It's not my problem. It's not my responsibility as an author. I gave you some like notes at the beginning of what might be in here that could push that button in your brain. I don't want you to be upset. I don't want this to anger you. Outside of that, it's not my responsibility anymore.
I also think that, so to me, there are things that should kind of be off limits, not done. I can't push that on everybody else. Like you said, no, whatever makes my brain go, no, stay away. Doesn't mean you have. Do I think race play and weird, do I think that should be has a place in romance? Personally, not. As a black woman, I just don't. I don't see it. I have read snippets of stuff where it's like he never thought he could love a chocolate woman like that, and with his Nazi upbringing and da da da. And I'm like,
Yeah,
this
that one's
this
not for me either. Though I will say again, with like, there's always one that kind of works. He was not a not a Nazi, but militia, which is Nazi adjacent. And he was in jail, and the nurse, or no, the doctor, he fell in love with the doctor as they were like fighting for their lives, like whatever. There was a whole lot of other nonsense, but he came to understand that all the ideology that he grew up was bullshit, independent of falling in love with the black woman. Like
and see that
That's different.
that's different.
exactly. He
then the
it was in
whole
jail and he realized, oh, this none of this matters. Everything I was raised with is bullshit. None of this matters. And then he meets the doctor, and then she's the only one who's kind to him. Like, she's respectful to all of them. She's the only one that treats them like human beings, not like animals in jail. And then they get into this situation, this forced proximity situation, and then they fall in love. So I was able to put up with his, because then they run into his people and they are still bigoted.
Mm.
And he's like, all right, that's enough out of you. Like, so he comes to this realization independent of the black woman's love saving him. And that's what makes it so that I could continue with that story, because I agree with you, Lady Marie. That's, for me, that's a bridge too far. I'm not interested. And I don't care to find out how you landed that plane.
personally. And again,
Personally.
some people love that. I know a slave dynamic.
Nope.
Keep it away from me.
Not for me.
But I also think part of that is, are you writing this to fetishize it, or are you writing it, like you said, to explore a topic that is not necessarily talked about every day, but can be fleshed out and understood? And I think there's a very big difference between, and that's, we all have fetishes, we all have kinks, but I think there's a very big difference in truly fetishizing something to the point where it is problematic,
Mm-hmm.
and just writing something that maybe everybody's not going to care for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lindo, you didn't say if you thought there were any topics or tropes or themes that you put in your books that are yucky or that you would think people might think are yucky.
Well, I write contemporary romance, and
Mm-hmm.
my contemporary romances all have just a little dash of reality for razzle dazzle. So there are a lot of people who I'm sure think that the subjects that I throw in there are harshing their mellow. Like, I just want to watch these two dummies kiss. I don't want to hear about period poverty. I don't want to hear about white feminism. I don't want to hear about the traumas of poverty. I don't want to hear, like, and those are things that I throw into my book because they are real. Um, and it's not the focus of the book. Um, Period poverty, for example, was just like the two friends were hungover, and she's like, what are you talking about? She's like, did you know that like period poverty affects 2.8 billion people? Like, it's just a thing, but it's true. And that's the kind of person AJ would have said, like, that's what she talks about. Or book 3 that's been released right now, claudia Claudia is plagued by anxiety. She has been her whole life, and she is spun out, like, she's paralyzed by the fear that she'd be standing beside a bigot and not know it. Like, is this person standing beside me a bad person? Am I making polite chit chat with a class traitor, with a racist, with a feminist, or with a woman who's traded her femininity or her feminism for proximity to whiteness? Am I standing beside someone who would do me harm and I don't know it? And it spins her out, and she can't, like, it just makes it so she didn't go outside sometimes. Some people think that might harsh their mellow because that's not fun, that's not sexy, but that's who Claudia is. And I included it. I included her concerns about, like, I just can't go outside today. Like, my brain won't let me leave the house today. I don't know what the matter is, but I just can't do it. I don't have the spoons to go outside today. I'm sure lots of people are like, I don't want to read about that. I don't want to read about your, like, your race book. None of my books are race books. They just have black people in them. Like, not a single one of my books are a race book, but they have black people in them, and they have black people talking about what it's like to be black people surrounded by white people. So then it becomes a race book. They're not race books. Not a single one of them are. I think that some people might be like, oh, you're yucking my yum. I just want to watch dummies kiss. Sorry.
Then read something else.
Right.
It's totally fine.
It's totally fine. But there are people who have read my work and have been like, this was a cute story or whatever, without without giving those things more focus than they are warranted.
Yeah. I recently had a couple of people tell me one of my books, the main character he's a little childish because he's
Mm-hmm.
in his like early mid 20s. So, frontal lobe is not fully developed. And like the way that he's trying to win back his ex, It's a Second Chance, is like pushing boundaries that were playful when they were together, but she's not and she don't want that no
Yeah,
more.
she's not
And he
feeling it no
doesn't
more.
recognize that at first. So he's a little bit difficult to deal with. And I have people be like, I don't like him. He's way too much, he's childish. He doesn't deserve her. She should just like move on and like forget the job because it's a forced proximity. They're working together. And like by the end of the book, they'll be like, okay, well, he redeemed himself a little bit, but it was hard to get through it. And I'm like, I understand, but like that's a reality because even people who aren't in their mid 20s act like that because they
Yeah.
don't really know interpersonal dynamics are not everyone's jam. Like
Yeah.
if you grew up a certain way, you don't know how to communicate with folks initially.
Also,
So if
tell
you
me you
have
don't know
issues,
any people in their early 20s. Like,
that's why I was like, y'all have to think about this man's age, and like, I don't write just strictly people in their mid to early 20s. I have characters that are in their 40s, and even occasionally they'll do something and be like, "Yo, I'm too old for this. Hold on a second,"
yeah,
because that's how humans are. So I'm just
100%.
like, we have to not like if you don't want to see this man child trying to figure out his life and grow up, then don't read the book. It's totally fine. But to kind of like I knew these people who were saying something. The readers that were saying something to me, I knew them. So it was like different than a strict reader that I've never met in my life coming up to
Yeah.
me and being like, "Listen," I'm like, "Yo,
I have something to say to you.
okay, well, keep it in your review that I'm not going to read because I don't read reviews
Yeah.
because it's for the readers, but it's any kind of topic can be a little bit yucky or can be off putting to someone. And I think that folks have to acknowledge that it's okay to not like something or to try and get through something and see if you like it or to just completely be like, nope, not for me and move on.
Yeah.
And that isn't always um, addressed well, especially on the timeline in recent times,
Yeah.
as we have seen.
It's so funny that you say that about the readers because at an event in May, a
Mm-hmm.
very big one, a very nice big one that was lots of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I met a lot of new readers, and one of them came up, and her friend was like, "Oh, this is the author I was telling you about. You got to read it. I love her Sugar Baby series. It's so great. Sugar Babies aren't for everybody. Again, just like age gaps." And she
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Oh, okay. Well, what are they all about?" And as I'm kind of trying to give her the overview, she stops me and she's like, "Ain't no men getting gangbanged in here, is it?" And it came out so forcefully and it caught me off guard. And I was like, no, but
Now
However,
you're putting ideas in my head.
now I got some ideas. But
mhm.
no, but I guess if that's a line for you, I should tell you this one is two women and a man, and this one is a dom, a female dom with an older man. And she was like, "Oh no, keep that one away from me." But I'm interested in the other one. I was like, "Okay." So that's your line, and that's fine.
Mhm.
Now, I will say in the future, I don't know if you're going to want to read some of my work, but that's perfectly fine too. But
That's fine
it's
too.
just so funny and odd that, and I guess maybe I do this as a reader too, and I just don't know it. How you kind of push things on authors where you're like, "I hope you're not writing this." I don't think I've ever said that because I know I could just put it down.
Yeah.
But it was just such an odd interaction. And bless her, she bought a book that day. Hey girl, thanks so
Ah,
much.
yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely a reminder of the topics I want to cover in the future. There are going to be some people who are not a fan.
I mean, you can think about that with any black female identifying queer author because anecdotally, like author friends of mine have had issues where they would be like, "Oh yeah, I wrote this book. Oh, well, is that two women on the cover?"
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, keep that away from me. It's like, okay, that's totally fine,
Okay.
but you know that you're kind of like I
You're like right in
identify
my
as that.
face.
Like
You're right in my face doing that.
like that like I don't think people always recognize what comes out of their mouth before they say it or they just don't care. And I'm like, there's a difference between being like, I don't want to read this and then being like harsh with how you say it. So now you're not just saying something about the book, you're saying something about the person.
Yeah.
But you know.
It also can be, it can be a fine line to be like, you don't have to want to read a queer romance or even a romance featuring queer characters. Like, there's a couple of romances that I've read that were beautifully done with asexual characters.
Mm-hmm.
So like the clothes weren't coming off, nobody's fingers were going anywhere, like, like no mouths were going on like on anything. And it was beautifully done. It was still very romantic. It was still very sweet. You were still very satisfied at the end with the like happily ever after. Um, and it's not an identity that I share, but that I can, you know, put all my shit aside for a second and enjoy this story. And it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to express that sometimes. You're like, it doesn't mean that you suddenly want to be gay if you can just put all your shit aside for a second and read the story. It's still going to be a beautiful love story. It's still going to be a
Yeah.
romance between two people who work through their shit to come to the big happily ever after. And I think that sometimes even that is a barrier of, no, you're harshing my mellow, you're yucking my yum. I don't want to think about two chicks kissing. I don't want to think about two dudes banging. I don't want, like, okay, okay, but it could still be a very beautiful story, and they might not take their clothes off at all. You don't even know that. You've already stopped the story because it's just two same-sex people or two queer people on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not forcing you to. You don't have to read anything you don't like to. And in fact, you could start to read it, realize, actually, I can't do it, and then close
And
the
you
goddamn
don't
book.
have to say
Close the
anything.
book. You're
That's
like,
it.
you, I don't. This is not for me. Close the book. Put it
That
down.
part.
Open a new book.
That part. It's very easy.
It's very easy. So I
Um,
just think that there's just a space for, yes, try something different. You might learn that you like lactation kink. You never knew that before. And now you read a
Who
book, and
knows?
now that's your whole shit. Now that's your whole jam. You didn't even know. You got to give something a chance. But you also don't want to push somebody outside of their comfort zone forcefully, right? Like, if you can gently ease them, and someone who's like that reader that was at your big event in May that shall remain nameless. Um, Even a reader like that, you can only go so far when they're like, ah, keep that away from me. Okay, okay,
Okay.
okay. Even
and it's
though that they might have found something that they liked, but they've already, like, big wall between them and trying something different. I mean, I think I learned, I haven't gotten as far as lactation. I probably haven't read the right book yet, but I didn't know that I would enjoy primal. I didn't think I would like people getting chased in the woods. It's fun. It's delightful.
Delightful.
It's a delightful romp in the woods. But you don't
all
know, right?
right.
Like, you read a book, and part of my problem is that because I read so much, all of us read so much, I don't often get to the back of the book to know what it's about. Like,
You just kind of pick up a book and be like, "This
Mhm.
looks pretty," or "This little bit
or
that I
or
read
I will have
sounded
seen a clip.
interesting."
Somebody would have posted a clip on social media,
Oh
like
yeah,
a
like a
little
quote or a
excerpt or
piece of narration.
whatever, a
Yeah.
piece of the page. I'm like, oh my god, this. I'm like, that seems interesting, and then I'll go get the book and not know anything else about it, and all of a sudden I'm in the woods chasing this lady. You know what I mean? Like, I have no idea.
I
But
mean,
you know what I mean? Or the next thing I know, I'm on a planet, and my ship left me behind, and I got to deal with these orcs or whatever. I don't know. Like, you don't know until you get there.
yeah.
I do think that there is, in every book, no matter what the genre, historical, cozy, fantasy, action, all of them, you can trip the wire right into yucking someone's yum. Every single thing. It's not just the, like, fringy kind of romances. Even the simplest, most vanillaist have the potential to trip you into something weird. Like he calls her a name, and you're like, I don't like that. Or, like, anything can trip you into being, ugh, ugh. Does that mean that the whole book is bad? Does that mean that you know what I mean? Like, does that take the whole story, or does that just pull you out long enough for you to think, oh, I can't get back in there?
Yeah.
And maybe it does, maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
You're right. I've had readers for my first book. It's a fake dating book. It's very clear it's a fake dating book. Yuck. Ooh, no. Why? She's too grown for this. But yeah, but that's the fun in romance and fake dating. We all know they're too grown for this.
Hmm.
Or something as simple, and I really think this is cultural. She still calls her mom mommy. I still call my mom mommy. If I call her anything other than mommy, she's like,
Are you
who
okay?
the hell are you talking to? Who is that? So, but I've had readers say, oh, I couldn't get into this because she's 30 years old and she's calling her mom mommy. Like, what is that?
You know.
Okay. I didn't even think that would be something that somebody would yuck, but okay, I get it.
Hmm.
I think that comes down to like the mommy daddy kink, and people don't, they immediately associate it with that.
Hmm.
And it's like,
Yeah,
but
they're
that
like,
is her
oh,
literal mother.
mother. That's actually her mother.
Like, it's,
Interesting. But yeah, so I mean, and I think I think that's it for some people. Some people just like, oh, she's too old to be doing that, and that's so childish. Who still does that? Well, girl, you just called me a child because thanks so much for that. But like you said, any little teeny thing
mhm.
can be somebody's yuck,
Yeah.
and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think so with that being possible, like with that being true,
Hmm.
the bigger yucks almost paradoxically become harder to navigate when something so small can trip you into a yuck. Then the bigger, seemingly obvious yucks, like you should be grossed out by that. Like, why are you not upset by that? Then all of a sudden, you're like, the bigger ones become harder to navigate when all these
Yeah.
tiny little unknown, you're like, that one upset you, but this is, you're cool with this?
And
Like,
so that was actually, I wanted to ask about that. Like, regardless of culture, morals, upbringings, ethics, like where you were in the world, how old you are, any of that, is there particular topics that just should be avoided? Period. 'Cause, like, there's very little way to make it where it's not problematic.
Slave dynamics. I'm just, especially between a interracial, a black and a white person. And cancel me. Leave it alone. Don't do it. Why are you doing it? It's a problem for me. As as a black woman who knows for a fact that my ancestors were literally in bondage, why do you think it's okay to write, and again, cancel me, I don't care, write this dynamic where this white man is calling her the N word or pulling out a whip or even a slave master, like an actual slave master
The
slave.
historicals, yeah,
That's weird. That you don't think that's weird?
not for me. It's
That's
not for me.
that no.
There are certain black authors that I avoid because that is a part of their catalog, and it just kind of goes from like the slave master dynamic to like the KKK dynamic. I'm just like,
Yeah,
it's not for
no.
me.
I
yeah.
don't think, and again, I know, we talked earlier about, you know, a romance that explored someone who did have a racist upbringing and then they learned to move
That's
past it.
different.
That's different
Yeah.
than
Some of
some
the
of the
authors do.
content that's being put out there. I'm sorry, you will just never convince me that that dynamic is okay.
And I will put an asterisk beside that book because I didn't know the race element was a part of the book based on the blurb. And that book has other problems. One of them being I didn't realize that she was black until like chapter 10. So that was like,
Oh,
yeah, like the book has other problems. But I will say, if you figured out what book I was talking about, you're like, well, girl, you said you wouldn't read that. I'm like, I didn't know I was reading that. But also, he didn't become unracist because of her. He
right.
figured it out on his own, then met her, which is why I was able to continue with the book after I realized that she was black.
Yeah, and
It's a little asterisk there.
I just, and that's totally fine. But I have a hard time believing that you can successfully write a book where this grown man has owned countless, countless hundreds of black people.
Mm-hmm.
And with the what we know about how slave owners fetishized black women
Mm-hmm.
and used them in their bodies, I just don't.
And he's supposed to fall in love with this one
This
specifically.
one specific, and it
And
doesn't
like,
change him from being a
no, and
slave master.
all the other people who looked like her historically, he didn't find any humanity in them, but just this one, this woman,
This one,
this
no.
unicorn
Mm-mm.
paragon of a woman. She was the one.
So I think that for me is that I think I can be open to a lot of things. I have read a few things that I know are hard lines for other people, and it didn't necessarily turn me away from it. But that is my hard line. I don't think anybody should play in those woods. It's dangerous. Leave it alone.
Yeah, I agree. I don't. My hard lines are race play. I don't have any patience for it, and I will expand that to colonizer play. Like, so it's not just black and white; it's just
Yeah,
colonizer. Like, I will expand it to
yeah.
that. My parents, my mother's from a colonized country, my dad's from an occupied country.
Mm.
I already have like I'm predisposed to being like, go fuck yourself. You know, like I really like I'm predisposed to not have any patience for any of your bullshit with regards to, oh no, but they were just trying to bring culture to like, just we had culture. We had language, we had things before you guys got here. Thank you. Um so I do have a hard time with that. And I also, unless I know the author and unless the author is a person of color, I'm not interested in Small Town because it comes with a sort of
Mm.
like a pumpkin spice Christianity that I'm not interested in. So
I would agree.
I generally
I
do
never
not.
really thought about that, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
find that
because I
I
love a small town, but
do.
all the small towns I read are black. So, and that is
You're
why
onto
I
something there.
never made that connection, but
yeah,
that is why.
and there again, that is not a headliner ick. Most people are like, Small Town is the safest thing you can read. It's so quaint. Who doesn't want to fall in love with the sheriff? Whatever. But with context, for me, just me, I need to know if it is written by a white author. I need to know the author. I need to have seen some of their social medias. I need to know where they stand on like Roe v. Wade. Like I need to
Mhm.
know
Mhm.
where they
Mhm.
like, you know what I mean? Like I need to know where they stand on like just regular humanity before I will read A Small Town by an unknown white author. But I will read A Small Town by Asian authors, by black authors, by Latin American authors, sight unseen, just because I know that even if they do fall in love with the sheriff, it's not because police are good. It's not because, ew, the city's so dangerous and bad and they've all the ethnics are there and they're just ruining everything. It's not like their life isn't better because they're in a small town. They just happen to be in a small town.
Yeah.
And I also am not interested in any proselytizing. Like I don't like your religion is your business. Leave me out of it. You do what your God tells you to. I don't have to listen to your God. Your God doesn't, he's not in charge of me. My God is in charge of me. Your God is in charge of you. I don't want your religion in my fiction. Unless it is like fiction, like literary fiction. That's a different thing. But like in romance, like you don't preach to me. I'm not interested in that. That is a yuck for me in light of the rise of Christofascism. I don't want you to tell me what God thinks is a good idea. God can tell you what is a good idea. And God will tell me what is a good idea. And our good ideas don't have to be the same good idea. Like, you let your God control you, and I'll let my God control me. I'm not interested.
I mean, we can kind of just look at it's not a book, but like the whole conversation that came after Sinners was released and
Yeah.
how people looked at that from so many different ways. Well, he said, and the Bible says, and it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
you can have your opinions, but the book wasn't, the movie wasn't fully about Christianity. It
And
was
I would go so far
other
as to
situations
say,
that were happening in that. Like, did we forget like how it
yeah.
was layered and nuanced, and there's a lot going
And I
on
would go
here?
so far as to say that it wasn't
Just
about religion at all, because even if his father wasn't a preacher, his father still would have been a domineering, controlling person. And it just so
And
happens that religion is an excellent way to make that archetype.
but also tell me. you watched the movie and didn't understand it without telling me you didn't
That's
understand
why
it.
the nuance. There's so much more
Because did you
there. It wasn't.
not, if anything, it literally held up a lens that say, hey, you use this as a shield to protect yourself or judge other people. It's not going to save you because that man knows the exact same words that you know
Yeah.
at the end of the day. Like, and the
But
synopsis
it
don't
did
confirm
become a
me.
huge conversation about Christianity, and it's like that was not the focus of
No,
the movie.
Yeah, I was gonna
no.
say I would go so far as to say is that that movie has nothing to do with Christianity at all.
It's
Um,
literally a background. It's
yeah,
just a background.
it's just a background, and I think the beauty of fiction, the beauty of storytelling, broader, like bringing the movie centers into it, music, movies, plays, books, the broader storytelling is about walking a mile in someone else's shoes, right? It's about perspective, it's about um, allegory. And I think that when in monster romances, for example, you can use monsters as the allegory for belonging, for not being, for being out of place, for not being welcome, for like all those things. Or you could be vaguely racist and be using it for like,
Colonizer.
yeah, like all of the things. It's possible in the wrong, like it's just like magic. In the wrong hands, magic is bad. In the right hands, magic is good. Like in the wrong hands, storytelling is bad. In the right hands, storytelling is good.
Mm-hmm.
You There are things that I won't attempt as an author because I don't think I'm there yet. I don't think I've got the skill to like thread that needle yet. I'll get there. I'm not there yet. Um, and I think that that's another thing that we need to, in the discussion of yucking people's yum, was like, this might have been a good idea, but maybe you weren't ready to tell the story yet. Like the the core of the story was good, but you missed the execution. Maybe you just weren't ready to tell the story yet, and now I'm sort of written you off because I don't trust you to tell the story.
Yeah. I think so. Within that, there's books that are problematic within contemporary romance, dark romance,
100%.
thriller,
Yes.
mystery, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Some subgenres of romance, and then some genres in general, kind of become this black hole for what people want to kind of explore, but they don't do very well. And it kind of tends in dark romance, for example, because that's the one that always in recent times has been like very problematic. That, and then sometimes urban romance, which kind of mirrors some of the themes in dark romance. It's just how you address it. But like, why is it that this is where books go for yucking yums or being side eyed or look like kind of exploring things, but not really knowing how to address it? Why is it those areas, do y'all think?
I think it's because someone somewhere heard the phrase dark romance and thought this gives me license to do whatever the hell I want to do.
Yeah.
No. Same thing with urban fiction, I think. I grew up on urban fiction. I still read it today. You'll never hear me downing urban fiction as a genre, just like I won't down dark romance as a genre. But people use those names, those labels, as a way to just get away with stuff. Just
Yeah.
because it's a dark romance does not mean it is okay to say he whooped her ass every day from sun up to sundown, but she's in love with him and now we all love him too. Huh?
Well, I think that's a skill problem, not a story problem. Or maybe that's the same thing. I'm trying to say you can have a character who whoops her ass from sun up to sundown and she loves him when the author has done the work to show
Right.
how she got there.
And I think that's the problem
And
is
there's a lot
that
of
they
times
feel
where
like
we
I
just,
don't have to. I
yeah,
don't
and
have
we
to do
just
the
like,
work.
there's no work. I just, ta-da, I'm in love. Like, girl, what?
Mm,
Like,
that
no, you're
doesn't make
not.
sense. Like you didn't explore the characters, their
Yes.
motivations,
Mm-hmm.
their backgrounds, their interactions with not just each other, but everyone around them.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes into what makes a character and what makes a story a story. And instead of exploring that or fleshing that out, you simply just wanted to write trauma porn.
Yeah.
And that's fine for you, but baby, maybe you
For
should
the
have just kept that in the drafts.
Well, and
There are some books that have so many reviews that, reading just to try and understand, because it's not always very easy to understand, but you'll see like 60,000 reviews and you're like, okay. You read a book and be like, this is a me problem, obviously, because 60,000 other people reviewed this and thought it was fine. But I'm not understanding how you telling me this woman loves this man and what I read
yeah.
about how he treats her
Yep.
are adding up to love. I'm missing something here. It's a me
Something.
problem.
Yeah. It's
It's a
gotta
me.
be. It's gotta be me, right? Like I can 60,000 people. It's gotta be me, right? Like
And I think I know I've read some problematic stuff. I know I've enjoyed some
100%.
problematic books. I
Yes.
know of one book in particular that most people love, me included. I won't name any names, but the main male character is atrocious
Mm.
to the female main character. In the
Yes.
beginning, it's a very long book, and I wanted to beat his ass for her.
Yeah, you did.
But then, to me, we got to explore why he is that way. What is his trauma? How
Mm-hmm.
do we get here? Girl, stand up. Stand up. Great, you finally
See,
stood
but
up.
that's different. You're exploring there's character growth, there's explanation, there's ways that you can see the character and the background and learn about them instead of just being told that he's actually a really good person. He loves me. That's why he's doing this.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
okay, but show me that. Show me how he's changing. Even if like in the beginning he started one way, at the end he might still similarly be that, but like there's been some type of growth. Give me something.
Yeah.
Because if you're giving me nothing, but you're telling me, yeah, he, threw me down a flight of stairs, and that is a trigger
Because
warning.
he loved me so
But
much.
if you're physically assaulting someone, if she's doing it, or if he's doing it, or if a non-binary, whoever these characters are, if someone is physically attacking, mentally, or whatever, the whole book, and you're just like, at the end, they love each other. Like, what? How did we get here though? Like, there has to be some kind of nuance. There has to be some character growth, and something got to change. You cannot just physically and mentally abuse somebody the whole book and be like, but they love each other at the end. Like, how did we get here?
Yeah. And
I'm mad.
I
Sorry. Let me come off my little step ladder.
no, I like it. I like it. And in fact, you should take one more step up the rung, like the next rung up. I like it. I like it. I am a fool for paranormal and the like fated mate thing. Like just like
I
mine.
love a
Like
fan mate. I
Mm-hmm.
love
I'm
a
a
fan
fool.
mate.
I love it. I also love it when they're like try to fight against you. Like you're not the boss of me. Like I am in charge of my own destiny. And the moon goddess or whoever has like they don't tell me. I decide, and then like their whole life falls apart. They're just a sniveling mess because they need this other person so badly. A fool. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, Even within that, I'm still like,
Give
but
me
you didn't earn like you made such a scene and like you rejected the bond and you broke his heart and you ruined her life and you did all these terrible things and now you just get to have her in the end. You get to just come back and be his in the end. Like they they don't have a say in how you grovel. You need to do a bit of groveling.
something. Give me
Something.
something.
And I
And
think
instead, you
that
gave nothing.
yeah. And I think that I I don't know how to say this properly. My genre is contemporary romance. It is a big big genre, right? Like it encompasses so many things. It encompasses sport and so many things fall under the umbrella of contemporary romance. There's a large readership for it, and the market is, I don't want to say saturated because that's the wrong word, but you could read a different contemporary romance a book a day and not run out of books, right? So then it becomes a question of what are we training readers to accept? Like where does my responsibility as a storyteller, because how you receive the story is not my responsibility, but how I tell the story is my responsibility. And what are we training readers to accept? What are we allowing readers to tell us to accept? Like where the readers are now demanding different things, and they're like, but that's not the story that I'm writing, and you can't, you're not the boss of me. But there is this, the veil is falling, is I guess what I'm trying to say, between the place of the author with as many books and titles that are available to readers, and the voracious way with which readers consume the materials, to then be like, whoa, you just keep searching for other things. I promise you, if you like this, there's 7 more out there. You just have to do a little bit more work. If you like this, I swear there is more for you. You don't have to, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to then turn on, like, bite the hand that feeds you kind of a thing. And I think in the context of yucking someone's yum, that becomes, well, you didn't do the thing that I wanted, and so you now have failed me. Did I, though? I don't think I did. I told a different story. And vice versa as a reader, where, hey, all your other books were kind of like this, and then you kind of veered left and you didn't change your pen name. So I thought all the books were going to be the same because the last 11 of your books that I read were like this, and all of a sudden this thing's in there and I don't know how I feel about it. It's none of my business as a reader. I don't, like, either give them another chance for book 13 or wash your hands of them, but you don't get to then bring that to the author as though they owe you a separate thing. And harshing someone's mellow, yucking someone's yum, I think extends to that as well. Like, readers doing that to authors. It hasn't happened to me. I'm not speaking personally. I'm speaking as, like, when we're in social media and you see this, like, weird response to, like, whoa, that, what are you telling her all that for? Let that man write the book he wants to write. Let that person tell the story they want to tell. You don't have to, just be cool, man. I think that we've trained, you know what I mean? Like, I think the veil between the reader and the author falling is creating some yucking of yums.
And I think you said, I'm trying to figure out how I want to say, because you are correct in everything that you said. Like, in terms of, it is, I think, our responsibility as authors, as writers, to be mindful of how we're presenting topics to readers. And I think that tends to be why, unfortunately, dark romance, for example, has turned into such a catch-all, is because people feel like it gives them license not to have to be responsible in what they write. And I don't think that's the case. I love dark romance, but you still have to be, you have to own some sort of responsibility for what you're putting out in the world, because everybody who is reading your book does not have a developed frontal lobe, whether they are of the age that they should or not.
Yeah.
And so I hate it when people look at, like, musicians and artists and say, oh, Meg, you put this out here and you're doing nothing but shaking your ass. Young girls look up to you. It's not her responsibility to parent your child.
Sure is not.
You are supposed to understand what your child is engaging with.
Yep.
And act accordingly. And I think as readers, that's important. But I think authors, unlike my, endless support of Meg, I think authors, you do have some sort of responsibility. That's not to say you can't put a stalker in your book. You can't put knife play in your book. You can't put a main character who is or was emotionally abusive in your book. But you still need to, at some point in time, take responsibility for what it is that you're writing. So if you're going to write these topics and not have any nuance, no context, no anything, when a reader says, hey, that was actually a very unsafe place. Your book was very unsafe.
Yep.
You need to take that on. That's your response. Oh, okay. Well, I don't think it can be that's not my goddamn problem. Sometimes it
No.
is. Yes, sometimes it very much is, girl, whatever you picked up from this book is not my business. You should have read the trigger warning. It was right there. And that is why I am such an advocate of content warnings and trigger warnings. I have not really broached any heavy topics in my books on purpose, but you will always find a content warning or trigger warning page because, yes, this character's grandmother passed from cancer. You need to know that.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's going to be cussing and fucking in this book. You need to know that.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be XYZ. I think when you can lay that out for a reader, then, okay, whatever you read and took from that, girl, I have no part in that.
Mm-hmm.
But even that only gets you so much sometimes. Because
Well,
if you are
further,
actually writing an unsafe book,
yeah,
baby, put the pen down.
I was gonna say, because further to that, you, more than anything an author says, and this was a quote. I saw this on Threads, and I want to attribute it to the right author, and now I can't, and I feel terrible about it. But the gist is, more than anything an author says on social media, you want to know who they are, read their books,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, like, if you are presenting these topics, these taboo topics, without any context, without what we collectively as a society have understood to be bad, then I think that's what people are reacting to. So I'll bring it back to age gap. If he is in love, and it for some reason is always a man, a 50-year-old man in love with a 19-year-old, it's just ridiculous. Anyway,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if he is in love with a younger woman, a considerably younger woman, and doesn't agonize about it, isn't like acknowledging, oh, fuck, ugh, she's so young, this is crazy, what am I doing? And even a little bit, the author is then saying to you, I recognize that this is a wild age gap. Here is my character agonizing over the fact that this is a wild age gap. He's going to do it anyway. He's going to do it anyway. But we're all acknowledging that a 50-year-old man and a 19-year-old girl is weird.
It's
Now,
weird.
To a
It's
lot of
crazy.
people.
to a lot of people,
To a lot of
asterisk,
people.
to a lot of people, is weird to a lot of people. You're correct. Thank you. And now with that, let us proceed with the story I want to tell you, right? And I think the times where that happens and there's no like acknowledgement of the fact that she's like, she's been beautiful her whole life and now she's mine. Like, then you're like, wait, what? Like, have you,
Or or
like,
or you're focusing in on how young she is, not because you're agonizing over it, but because that is what turns you on.
yeah,
Oh, she's 18, she's fresh, she's a virgin. I love
yeah.
that. I don't have anything against virgins. My current main character is a virgin. He's a man, but he's a
Ooh, I
virgin.
love a virgin male character. I love
But
it.
he's also 30.
That's
That's
even
what makes it
better. You're
better.
not going to know what hit him.
But you know, I think even there's a way to write even that of
Yeah.
this 19-year-old and this 45-year-old, and yes, she's a virgin. God, what am I doing? Like you said, this doesn't make me look great. That is different from actually I want to fuck her because she's 18
Yeah.
and
That's
And
the
I
I'm gonna
difference.
my dick's gonna mold her vagina to my shape, and I'm gonna be the only one who's ever
right.
had her. Like,
Yeah.
whoa,
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
And but then stuff like that is what leads people to write off an entire trope or an
Exactly.
yes,
entire genre. And I think
correct.
that is where the problem lies.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah,
don't know how to fix it, but
because that's what I'm saying. You need the context with every single thing
Yeah.
that people say is a red line. There is a book that handles it beautifully. There is an author who's done it and has like made you be like, I guess I'm okay with this. Like, I really thought that there was no situation where this would work for me, but I guess I was wrong.
I was
Like,
wrong.
there's an author who's done it. There's an author who's done it successfully. There's an author who's done it effectively. The problem is the one author did it successfully and the 45 who did it less so, and then you like it's watered it down. It's watered the
Yeah.
effectiveness of it down. Do I think that means you shouldn't do it? No, absolutely not. We all have to try. And there's something for everybody, and we all have like if we all agree, and let's use mafia. And I don't even like really the term mafia. I prefer the term organized crime, because what's the difference between mafia and bratva and yakuza and
Mm,
a
mm,
motorcycle
And
gang and
mm.
like, what's the difference? So I don't
yeah,
even
What?
really like the term mafia. I prefer organized crime, because what's the difference? For my money, there's no difference. It's just it's romantic because they're Italian. Fuck off. Anyway.
yeah, but real quick before you continue, mafia doesn't always have to be, because I'm writing a sapphic mafia right now, and they're black, and there were black people in the mafia in LA 20, 30, 40
100%.
years ago. So
100%.
like people always
100%.
assume that you can't be mafia unless it's Russian or Italian or something as well. So anyway, go ahead.
No, I agree with you 1,000%. Um, but let's use organized crime. Let's use the mafia and all the things that sort of are implied with that subgenre of dark romance. The the aggression, the violence, the stalking, the domineering, the gender roles, those are all heavily implied. And until an author attempts to subvert those roles, where like the woman is the leader of the mafia, or the woman is the enforcer, by and large, the conventions of that subgenre are aggressive man archetype, gentle, loving female, innocent woman. Okay. If we agree to that for the sake of this conversation, within that context, we all have a line where that this I can go this far, and I can go a little bit further. No, I can't go that far. That's too far for me. That's the problem, right? Like within yucking someone's yum, everybody is allowed to have their own line. And with that, then who's responsible for saying, okay, well then you shouldn't have been over here, this is past your line, right? Like, you're allowed to have a line. You're allowed to say, oh, I can only go like 3 feet in before the water's too deep for me. Well then, bitch, what was you doing on the deep end? You're over here
What
on a
was you doing
diving
over there?
board. What are you doing over here?
Especially when you were warned. Why
You
were
were
you
warned.
over there?
Stay in the waiting pool. If in the context of mafia, what you are good with is wading pool deep water, then have fun at the
Hmm.
splash pad. It's a good time. The little flower has like a sprinkler in it, and the little unicorn spins
It's
around.
got floaties.
There's
It's very
floaties. It's
nice.
fun as shit over at the waiting pool. Go over there. What are you doing on the diving board? What are you doing over here? And
Well,
that's,
to that,
well, I just think
to
that's the
that,
problem, right? Like, that's the problem, is
yeah.
that you, we all are here together in this mafia pool. And we've all established that we understand the conventions of this particular dark romance subgenre. We accept these conventions. Within this, if you're not cool with all that, like, don't be over here. What are you doing over here?
Mhm.
And then don't yell at me because I can dive off of the, like, because I can do a, triple axel lutz or whatever the hell the divers be doing. Don't yell at me because of that. That's not my problem. I can handle it. You're not supposed to be over here.
And that's why content warnings are so important.
Yes.
To the point of like having the line and everyone having their line, and then someone quote unquote passing it, subverting it, changing it, doing something beyond what is the constraints that people have put on a particular subgenre, um, and how readers approach that. Does that come back to everybody needing to keep their comments in the group chat unless it's constructive criticism on what an author is doing?
Well, so I'll use Sinners really quickly. I am 200 pounds of grade A Canadian scaredy cat. I do not like to be frightened at all. And I needed a lot of people to tell me, okay, but like, what kind of scary? Like, is it scary, or just like gory? Because I can do
It was
blood
not
and
good.
guts. Yeah, I can do blood and guts. I don't like
Have you
fear.
watched it?
I did. I loved it.
Okay.
But I needed to watch it at the 11 o'clock showing, where the sun was bright in the sky when I left the cinema. And I needed to go do my dry cleaning and my laundry after. Like, I needed to do a lot of things so that my brain could
Process and calm
settle
down.
before it was time for bed. I'm not watching Sinners at a 10 o'clock showing and then going to bed at 12:30. I'm not doing that. I can't handle it.
Wow.
I can't. It's not for me. It's not
But
for
you know
me.
that, and that's
But
beautiful.
I know that. So, using that as an example, how scary is it? And then people talking about that. This is what I think. This is how scary it was. I'm a scaredy cat. I was okay. I was a scaredy cat. I wasn't okay. When we're talking about books in that way, where it's not a judgment based comment, but more of a like
Constructed.
constructive, where it's a judgment based but not a value based, where you're not saying it's good or bad. I didn't say Sinners was good or bad because I'm a scaredy cat. I said I'm a scaredy cat and I got through it. Me liking that movie is about me. Me being a scaredy cat and speaking to other scaredy cats and being like, I think you guys are going to be okay. Like, I, fellow scaredy cat, made it through. Take this information and do with it what you will.
Right.
I'm not giving it a value. And I think when we talk about books, a lot of the conversations can be without value, which is important. That's like reviews. It's without value. This didn't work for me because this aspect of storytelling is not my favorite because I didn't say it was good or bad. I said it exists, and this was my reaction to it. I think a big problem we have right now is when social media puts everything like out of order and is like a bit rage baity. So someone will have answered something and then you'll see the response to that and then you get mad at this, but it has nothing to do with the first thing. But now we're in a maelstrom of rage about a subject where the first conversation was not really about that at all. The first part of the conversation was actually quite lovely and healthy and like, oh, I found that problematic that they were that much older than her. I found it problematic that she she took him back after everything he did and he didn't even have to say sorry. I found it troublesome that he got left in the cage and when she rescued him they didn't like give him a shower. Whatever. You can say that thing happened in this book and so use this information to judge whether like your mileage may vary. Use this information, this objective information to see if the book is for you. We're allowed to have those conversations. Then it becomes, you are a bad person because you didn't mind that he was covered in blood in the cage. Whoa. That's not for you to decide that I'm a bad person. You're a bad person. How about that?
How about it?
How about that?
How about it? And I think again, people have to figure out what needs to go in the group chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Saying I have a chat with one particular author friend, and we talk all the time about how, oh, I tried this I just could not. It's not for me. I'm not, and I think I also try to be very conscious because I am an author, not putting stuff on the timeline or out for the public. One, because people, I think we've said this multiple times, don't understand nuance.
Yeah.
They don't understand how you can have a different opinion. But I know when to put it in the group chat and when not to. If there's something that has been put out, like, okay, read, it doesn't even have to be a taboo subject. Oh, I'm reading a book about a rapper and I don't particularly like the fact that the raps are in the book. I
Right.
don't
Yep.
have to state that to the public. This book was trash because, girl, why was you writing them lyrics? Them lyrics didn't even make sense. You ain't
You're
no
terrible. You don't have no flow.
right. Like you ain't Jay-Z, girl. What you doing? I don't have to do that, but I can put it in my group chat. Girl, I kind of hate it when the people put the lyrics in the book. And you know what?
Yeah.
My friends will be like, "Oh, I hate it too," or "Girl, I love it actually," because I be bobbing my head.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine, but I don't know. I want us as a community to do better about what we think are baseless critiques and what actually are baseless critiques.
Yeah.
Because I think we said this earlier, some people are just nasty to be nasty.
Yes.
And
Sadly.
you cussing out or going on social media to discuss, perfect point. Recently on Threads, there was a discussion about how people will read a romance book and be upset because there's no sex or the sex doesn't happen until 80 or 90% in. Where's all the fucking? I want fucking. Girl, I can relate, but this is a romance, not an erotica.
Mm-hmm.
Know what
Also,
you're
there's
picking
a
up.
whole thing about slow burns. So
Slow burn.
if you're building up to it for a reason, or
Sometimes,
even not for a reason, like
right.
the author's preference to tell the story that way.
But you cannot cuss me out because there was
Because
not enough dick
yeah.
going in the hole for you. I can't. Why are you cussing me?
Yeah.
Right.
Or conversely, why are you picking up this book that is clearly marked as an erotica and being upset because there is so much sex in it?
Yeah. Go back to the splash pad.
Hello, this is not the place for you, and that's fine. If you, if my mom refuses to read my books,
Atta girl.
one,
I
she's
wish.
just not a reader,
Right?
which
My mom reads all my books, and she's
no.
gonna listen to this podcast and text me and be like, "Oh, so you talking about me?" Everything, and then she want to discuss it, and I'm like, "Ma'am, no,
Yeah. Thank
no."
you. Thank you for
No.
the support, Mama, but that's enough now. We're not going to talk about it.
My mama is not a reader. That's fine. And it's funny because she's at an event or she was at an event and she was like, yeah, I brought your second book. I brought Found Forever. I thought I was gonna read it, but I don't know, I probably won't. But I didn't bring any of the risque books, the nasty books. And I'm like, that's funny because when on the very first page of that book, he literally has his wife spread out on the desk eating her coochie
There you go.
on his lunch break.
Yeah.
First page.
That was his lunch.
That was his
What
lunch, and
do
he
you want
said
the man?
that.
You want him to be hungry all day? You want him to not
Like,
eat?
hello,
He needed his sustenance.
Yeah.
And is that a book with a lot of sex in it? No, because that is one of the few books I've written where it's about real life
Yeah.
and it's the sex is not the focus.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I also like writing about sex. So sex is going to be in it. So if you open up that book and you read the first page and you're like, oh, why would she start the book like that? It's probably safe to say you should not be diving into my catalog because that's tame, girl. That was tame. Like he honestly don't even fuck her until later in the book. So
He's
I
having a
think
little nibble at lunchtime. That's not bad.
right.
Like, what are you
He
doing?
just needed something to get him through the day.
Yeah.
Like, and we have to be as readers. I'm taking off my author hat. We got to be more cognizant of what we are picking up and how we're responding to what we're picking up. Because I cannot get upset at an author who warned me very blatantly
Mm-hmm.
what I'm getting ready to read.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay as a reader to decide this is not for me.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to read about I do want to read about it, but I don't want to read about a a a why choose.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The thought of her being with someone more than one person at a time. She only has so many holes. How is she with five different men? Like,
Well,
well,
that's what
baby,
we're
you'd
gonna
be
read and find
surprised,
out. Like, we're gonna find
right?
out. If you don't read, how are you gonna know?
If
That part.
that's just not my comfort zone, that's not my comfort zone. And I guess you can't warn for everything, but after a certain, like you said earlier, baby, close the book. It's okay to close the book. It's
Yeah.
okay not to enjoy it. It's even okay to say, hey, I know I told y'all I was reading this book, but I had to close it because it just wasn't for me. That's not to say it wouldn't be for you, but this just did not work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's perfectly fine. What is not okay is to be like, y'all don't need to read this book because it was trifling and she got bent over by one man and an hour later she got bent over by another one, and if you read this book you is so goddamn nasty. Da-da-da.
Yeah.
Actually, baby, what was the title of that book? Because
Right.
I'd
Like,
actually like to pick it up.
Let me know so I can go get it.
yeah, I will decide for myself if you just would be so kind as to. Was it? Where did you say at the library? Was it? Sorry.
And
Yeah.
we say all the time for very sensitive topics in the media, like with the whole trial that just recently ended with, Diddy and everything. We say all the time, be careful how you talk about certain subjects because you may not be a survivor or anything, but you may know people who are, and people in your real life will see how you react to a woman getting abused
Mm-hmm.
or, something very sensitive that has happened. And I think the same can be said about reading in general. Be careful how you talk about a book or an author online because you're telling somebody how disgusting this is, not knowing that your homegirl is actually reading that book right now, and she giggling and kicking her feet.
Yeah.
I mean, it also comes down to how, from the author side, how you interact if you see people talking about your book. You don't need to say anything
You
necessarily.
don't.
And we have seen not, a few folks have been kicked, like booted off of cons and lost opportunities because of how they're interacting with their audience. And it's like, it's totally fine to talk to your readers,
Mm-hmm.
but if your readers are disagreeing with how you wrote something, you don't need to attack them, block them, tell your friends to go attack them. Like, and if an author says, Allie Hazelwood, was it? I think it was like, I don't like whatever that whole situation was. I
The
don't.
Gail and Peter of it all.
Yeah, like, and then everyone's like, how could you? I'm like, what did? Because she didn't like a character. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, did I go to my group chat and say, "Girl, I don't know how she called that man useless, but that's not my business."
Like, you had that conversation in the group chat, but like, it's her opinion not to like a character, and it wasn't like she attacked the creation fully. She was just like, I don't like this anyway. Like,
and especially if you use the context of the time.
I had to use an example.
Well, no, that's a perfect example, because if you take it in the time of when that media was created, we were encouraged to pick sides. It was Edward versus whatever the vampire or the werewolf was, or Jacob. It was like Edward or Jacob, Peter or Gail. Like, you were encouraged to pit these love interests against each other. So her having a choice is entirely in line with what you were supposed to do. That's how it was of the time. Like, all those like love triangle dystopian, you were supposed to pick one. We were all encouraged to pick one. And I just think this is further to the idea that, with the veil falling, yucking someone's yum means so much more than just, I don't like breeding kink, or I don't like.
Sorry.
I'm just saying words, Lady Marie. I'm just saying words.
I know.
Like, I don't like, I don't know, what's a real popular one that people get all bent out of shape about?
I mean, it's really, age gap is a really big one that people are always
like bent out of shape.
I don't like age gap. I don't write.
Yeah. In a lot of the different kinks, but like age gap is one that you see often, most recently, I think.
Yeah, or I don't like, like the baby girl, baby doll, daddy, whatever.
Yeah, like the baby girl, daddy dom.
Yeah. Fine.
Which is completely different than grooming.
Right.
Well, and I do think that that's, like, if you are looking for a conversation about something that is new to you, or something that you like, or something that you don't understand, if you're just looking for a conversation can be had. If you are looking for an excuse to be an asshole, right? Like, you're gonna find it, because you're gonna make something out of nothing. You're going to say you're a groomer. Okay, but right now in the news, there are actual groomers. Like,
right, like this person is actually an adult.
Yeah, like in the news, like right now, there are actual groomers. They're getting hauled off out of the government left and right. So
some of them aren't.
Some of them aren't. But so, what are we? Pardon? Sorry, news at 7. What? I didn't. What are you like? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's, so you are just using words, like you are just trying to fight. You are just trying to diminish. You are just trying to other people. That also is yucking someone's yum. Like, I'm over here enjoying perfectly reasonable, unproblematic romances about taboo subjects. Like, the romances themselves are not problematic. They're handled responsibly. They're written beautifully. The characters are compelling. The story is lovely. I'm kicking my feet and giggling. Nothing about this book is problematic, except for that you don't understand, and now you're making that my problem.
Yeah.
You don't understand. You don't like it. You don't want to participate in it. And now suddenly that's my problem. I would prefer you just go elsewhere.
And I think, Rae Shawn, you said something that I think needs to be repeated.
Say it again.
What I say? I'm real good with answering and being like, what I say.
Authors have got to stay out of I know,
Yes.
and this is such a hot topic. It should not be a hot topic.
It shouldn't.
It should not, and I am going to name drop. I am going to name drop right now simply because she has been saying this for so long, and people have been like, "You're wrong. Why would you say that?" Taima has been saying for years,
Yes,
authors need to stay out of reader spaces, and I
because it's
think
not for us.
it's not for us. And I think
And
the
she
line
got
has
so
blurred.
attacked for
She
that.
got
Like,
so attacked for
it's
that
kind
when
of died down a little because more people are saying it. But when
right,
she
but now
started saying it, it
everybody's
was a
saying it, and I'm like, but
yeah,
she's been saying that, and I
yeah,
think it's true because there's no good reason for me to go into a reader's comment, into a review of my book, and because they respectfully or disrespectfully, honestly, stated they did not like my book and this is why, there's no reason for me to jump in the comments and be like, well, bitch, you're dumb, why you didn't like it, why you don't even know, you must not read for real because this was some good stuff, because there's no reason for me to do that,
No.
because they're entitled to their opinion.
Yeah.
That, and I think that is another form of yucking somebody's yum. They don't want to read my book, that's fine. You don't have to. And I think, unfortunately, social media has blurred the lines so much that it's
Yeah.
hard for some people to tell what is a reader space and what isn't.
Mm-hmm.
If you are talking about my book and you're like, oh, it was great, Lady Marie, I really love this story, and I have in your comments, I'm like, oh, thanks for reading, boo, I love that, that's fine. If you, if I happen to come across your video, I also try to be very cognizant of if somebody did not tag me in a good review,
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say
I
that.
might like it, but I battle all the time with, should I comment and say thank you? They didn't tag me for a reason. Should I repost it? So I might do something passive like repost it or like it. And sometimes it can be as simple as, oh, they didn't even, they wanted to tag me, but they didn't know, how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But that it there are authors now who have but then I think it goes reverse. I'm jumping all over the place. It's reverse because also don't tag me in a review where you're talking shit. I purposely make a point to stay away from reviews,
Mm-hmm.
stay out of reader spaces as much as I can. Don't then bring me into this space just so I can hear you drag me through the mud,
Yeah.
yeah,
because that will actually get you blocked.
yeah. So I think with that, it's like this, because of social media, we're a lot more overlapped. Like, we follow reviewers, we follow readers, because it's showing support that, like, we appreciate you supporting us, and like we would kind of, if it comes across our feed, would like to see what you
Hmm.
say, because you're not just reading me,
Yeah.
like, for example. But as a reader, I'm following reviewers and content creators because I want to see what they're talking about too. Am I gonna comment when they say something about me and don't tag me? No. If they do, cool. Most of the time I don't see it because I don't be looking for it. Some
Yeah.
people look for it. And then it's the same with, like you said, like, if you happen to be scrolling and you come across a video and you're not tagged in it, then that one, you didn't want me to see it, potentially.
It's not about
But
me.
if you tag me in something and you're being malicious, I'm not gonna say nothing, but I'm gonna block you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making note.
And I'm
I'm
gonna go to the
making
group
note.
chat.
And then I'm gonna go to a group chat and be like, let me tell you what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. But I do think I think that's a very important note. I think, we hear the phrase, don't yuck my yum, and we put it solely on the basis of, don't get upset because I like breeding kink and you don't,
Mm-hmm.
or because we both don't like daddy kink or whatever
Yeah.
it is. But I think it, like Lindo said, it goes a step beyond that. Like, don't interact with somebody on a level that makes stuff weird. Don't make it weird.
Yeah.
Just don't make it weird.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like you said earlier, Lindo, don't get upset with me as an author because I've decided to take a different direction. I've
Mm-hmm.
decided to touch on something different that I've never written about before. You
Because
know,
the average author is vocal about what they're working on as they're doing it. Like, Rae is constantly like, I'm at work and I got a deadline, but like, you know what I mean? Like, we're all talking to our readers in different ways, and you would have known that your favorite small town cozy romance author is attempting a stalker. Like, you would know that.
Yeah.
and and even if they didn't talk about the work as they were drafting, the cover should have let you know that it was different. There is not a cute little, tree lined street and an adorable little Tudor style house at the end of the lane with a golden retriever on the cover. That's not there. Chances are,
It's probably not.
it's probably a little something different. The cover's now black and red. Guess what? Like, odds are good. This is a different direction. It might not be for you. Are you disappointed that you can't read all of your favorite authors' books? Sure, but you don't have to. And
Yeah.
I mean, there are authors that I won't even read the back of it. Like, I don't care what Drea Anderson writes. I don't need to read the back of it. It's a new thing. I'm gonna give it to me. Like, I don't need more details
And
than
she's
that.
a lovely person too.
And
So
she's
there's
a lovely
also
person too. So there's that. But like, I don't need to know what it's about. Witches, vampires, werewolves. Who cares? I don't know. I have no idea. I'll read it. There are other authors who I liked book 1 and 6. I didn't love book 3. I'm willing to give book 7 a chance. I'm allowed to do that, and you're allowed to
Mhm.
do that to me. You could have liked books 1 and 3 and not liked book 2. You could have liked the novella, but not really the short story. You're allowed to do that. I just don't need to participate.
That part.
I just need to be a part of it. And I think there's something to be said for readers identifying what it is that they like, right? Like,
Hmm.
do you like organized crime because you like the idea of vengeance and because you like the idea of someone standing 10 toes down behind you, like always protecting you, willing to tear the world apart over you? If that's what you're after, cool. The rest of it literally won't matter to you. The
Hmm.
rest of what happens in that subgenre isn't going to matter to you so long as he's running around cold cocking bitches with the butt of his gun.
Literally.
Right?
Wow.
The rest of it
Yeah.
is not going to matter to you. That's perfect. That's exactly what you went in there for. You got what you wanted. No one should be weighing in on that.
Yeah.
Your relationship to these controversial subgenres is your business, right? And whatever you're getting out of it is your business. I I believe the problem lies when, like I said, if the work doesn't acknowledge this is bad.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, this guy is not playing with
A
a full
little
deck.
problematic.
It's a little problematic. He, wink, like, you and we know this guy. Like, this isn't
Yeah. Yeah.
in the real world. You don't want a boyfriend like this. But okay, right? Like, we agree. Okay, cool. Let's continue the story. And I think,
Hmm.
in my experience, in my reading experience, most books do that. Most books acknowledge, they wink at me and we're like, all right, girl, like, we're gonna hold on to your ass because this guy's about to get crazy. Ready? Let's
Strap
go.
in.
Exactly. Occasionally a book doesn't do that, and those are the ones where I'm like,
It's a little icky. Just a
it's a
little.
little
Just
icky.
a little.
And do you think that this is okay? Like, do you think it's okay for a man to talk to you like this? Do you think it's okay for a woman to treat you like that? Do you think it's like, because it seems like you do, like, the way that you are presenting your story makes it seem like you think this is legit, and that's where I'm like, oh, not for me.
Yeah.
Because again, aliens, vampires, werewolves, organized crime, stalkers, whatever,
Pediatricians.
pediatricians, football players, hockey players, cowboys, ranchers, like, I will read it all. I don't care. I'll read it all. Tell me a good story. I'm here for a good story.
Yeah.
If you are telling a story that I don't like, I can just stop reading the book. If you are telling a story that I like, that I wish you told it better, I will still recommend the book, because that means that that's not, like, that's a personal issue. I didn't
Yeah.
like the way you told the story, but the story was good. Those are distinctions that we need to start insisting people make. You didn't like it because it wasn't for you, not because it was bad. You didn't like it you're allowed to not like it. No one has to make you like it. Someone else is allowed to like it, and that's not a like. There's no value attached to that. You don't get to look down your nose because someone liked the thing you didn't like. Because I gotta tell you, the list of shit that I don't like in the world is long.
It's long.
Yeah.
It's long, and I can't run around telling people that they're living their lives different than mine, that they're doing it wrong. Like, I make choices in my life, in my writing, in my reading, because that's who I am. And I make choices in my life, in my writing, in my reading that align with what I want. You do that for you as well.
That part.
Right? Like, you do that
So
for you as well.
that, like, legitimately, it really comes down to that. And if it's not harmful, like literally spreading harm, I'm probably still not going to say anything, but I'm it that's a conversation that can be had too, and it's how do you address that conversation?
Mm-hmm.
But we will continue talking if we don't stop, and it's been a minute. So,
Oh.
before we head off, I want y'all to give a recommendation from your catalog that people should get into, and then maybe one from an author that you just couldn't put down.
Well, since I just was going on about how much I always read Drew Anderson, I will say, if you like paranormal, if you are a fan of shifters running around screaming mine while also riding motorcycles, while also threatening to do organized crime related violence, then she's for you. Just start wherever you want. I always pick the Georgia Arcana series as a
Mhm.
as an entry point, because then you could spread out to all the other ones from there with ease. That's an easy recommendation for me. I feel like you cannot go wrong. Oh,
And
and for
yours.
me, oh, and me, now me.
Like, oh yeah, me.
Yeah, now me. The most recent release in the Queen Cities Queens series is The Inscrutable Mr. Yang. It released June 26th. It is about Claudia, a woman who has struggled with anxiety all her life, and Ian, a man who has walked away from his world to help his parents through a small crisis. She goes to him for like an old school payolas game. I need information. And he says, okay, I'll answer your questions for a price. You got to hang around with me. And then hijinks ensue.
We love hijinks.
Hijinks
Love
ensue.
that.
Oh God. Okay, so Shawn. That's it. One word, one name. Shawn, I love everything she writes. It does not matter what it is. Um, a recommendation from her catalog, I would say if you are not one of those people who is confused about how one woman can open so many holes, you should read Just Right, because it's demonstrated beautifully. But also, what I love about Shawn, and I promise I'm gonna keep this short, is that no matter how nasty her books get or how many people are involved, there's always such a deeper level of emotion and attachment involved that is not sexual. Um, and so, Just Right is one of those books where, yes, sure, this woman broke into a house that she had no business being in and she ate all their food and then she woke up with a gun in her face. Hey,
Who
who hasn't
hasn't?
been
Who
there? Who
hasn't?
hasn't been there?
Who among
But,
us?
the way she makes the distinction between each character, no two characters are the same, and the way they love each other and they want to be loved on, uh, it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful.
And what was the name of that book for folks who might have missed it?
Just Right.
Y'all heard that right.
JUSTRIGHT. Just Right. hmm and from my catalog, everybody loves Cinnamon and Gold. I'm glad y'all love Cinnamon and Gold. I'm so happy that y'all love it. And it's coming to audio on the 30th. But
I heard the little clippet of it. That sounded so good.
Right.
it's so good.
The
Midnight
little the
Michael
little
gave
clippet
me a
that I
surge.
heard on Instagram made me think, oh, I need to
It's
have that.
so good. But I think a book in my catalog that does not get enough love is Found Forever. And I
Mm.
think that's because, like I said earlier, it's more real. Lizzie is coming up on her third wedding anniversary with her husband. Um, Alonzo is not the stepdaddy, he's the daddy that stepped up. And her baby daddy pops up and it's like, oh, hey, girl, remember me? I know I abandoned you all those years ago after you gave birth, but now I'm here. And what we going to do about it? And she's
Not a
like, not a
goddamn thing,
motherfucking thing.
bitch. Yeah.
Not a fucking thing. Um,
Your
and I
bitch
don't
ass.
know. It's just about Alonzo and Lizzie kind of working through that. How do we deal with this person that's popped up while we're also still on our love journey? It showcases Lizzie in therapy and, trying to work through herself. There is a couples therapy scene. Alonzo is very much a grown man. I don't have to show off for you because I know that she's coming home with me and I know that's my son.
Nice.
And the people just don't read it enough. And I need y'all to read it more because it's actually the favorite thing I've ever written so far.
Oh.
It's my favorite. Um, so yeah, that. But also still read Cinnamon and Golds. Like, still eat that up. But yes, Found Forever, I would
Don't
say.
forget to get the audio
Don't
on the
forget to
I mean,
30th.
you
get the
guys
audio.
really, I'm not lying when I say the narrators, it's they weren't even saying
That's
they weren't even saying really the spicy stuff, and I was like, all right.
When I tell you, I know we had to go, but when I tell you I was giggling and kicking my feet like I didn't write it, I was like, oh my God, this is,
no,
ooh,
because audio hit different. Like
it does.
when I was listening to the sample, like when I was going reviewing the Uncovering Her Cravings audio, my narrator, I was like, ma'am. I paused and went in my group chat. It was like, y'all, I don't know if I can do this. Who wrote this feels? Like,
Yeah.
who
Who
wrote
wrote
these
it?
emotions? They were like, you, bitch.
I don't even understand, and it's my very first audio, and it's been such an amazing journey. But just the way me and Serge and Midnight Michael ate that up, I'm like, it's
I'm excited
I
for
love
you.
it, love it.
I'm so excited for you. Okay. Last question. Where can folks find you on the socials? What's your website? Do you have any upcoming releases? Obviously, you just mentioned yours, Lady Marie, but beyond that, and any events that might be coming up. Let's start with you, Lady Marie. Since
Oh, um, everywhere on all socials, um, Instagram, Threads, um, TikTok, that atrocious place that used to be Twitter. I am at Lady Marie Writes on every single platform. My website, my Payhip site, Payhip Lady Marie Writes. Everything is Lady Marie. I branded this very thoughtfully. Um, and you can find me on Patreon, also Lady Marie Writes. And for upcoming releases other than Cinnamon and Gold, I am working on a MMF step sibling romance currently on Patreon, um, called Yours, Mine, Ours.
mm-hmm.
We're still in the beginning stages, but I love it so much already. Um, I do intend to warn people very thoroughly that this is step siblings, one ex, one current, that they have known each other since high school, though they did not necessarily all live together in high school. But there's gonna be some taboo stuff happening here. But that is upcoming. I just
I
finished
think
a Patreon exclusive over there, and uh, why are you making that
Because
face?
I
we
just
have
realized,
words and we don't want to interrupt.
yeah, I just realized the thing that is my other hard line of race play and incest. Sorry.
Oh,
Ah, yes,
it's
I
just
just
like,
realized my other one because we were talking about step siblings and I wasn't thinking about like actual like
siblings
pedophiles and like
or
incest and
oh yeah,
pedophiles and
no,
parents,
not those
yeah.
pedophiles.
Sorry,
uncles,
I
aunts.
didn't mean. That's why I was like, oh, don't say it.
No, this is very much step. Nobody is related by blood,
Mhm.
all by marriage, but that's over there. And events, uh, I just have one. Today on July 26th today, I Boozy Book Tour,
In
Arlington,
Arlington.
in Arlington.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's sold out.
it's sold out. So yeah, so I am excited. Hopefully another one in Baltimore towards the end of the year. I'm
Yeah.
waiting to hear back, and then 2026, you will see me outside at Chocolate City Lit Fest. You will see me outside at Black Romance Book Fest, and you will see me outside at one other fest that has not been announced yet. So
Nice.
Excited. Can't wait for it. I'm curious. I'm gonna have to talk offline.
Secretly,
Lindo,
secretly.
Lindo,
Um, I am
you.
Lindo Forbes on
Mhm.
all social media platforms, though I'm most active on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. Um, I don't have
I
anything.
forget Blue Sky exists.
I
oh,
know.
I do have a blue sky. I just don't be over there.
Yeah, see, that's every so often I just poke my head in and be like, "What's going on over here, y'all? Hey guys, hey!" And then, I am starting to plot out a 5 book series that takes place in an apartment complex.
Ooh.
Think the dunes, like in Insecure, like Issa would just walk around and there'd be like
Mm,
all the
mm-hmm.
neighbors walking around doing. So now we're gonna mind the neighbors' business
Explore that.
a little bit more. And I don't have any appearances coming up because I am hesitant to cross the border. And there are events in Canada. I am not going to pretend that we do not have romance events. I just have not had time to, not time. I haven't been brave enough to attempt them. But I am going. That is my goal for 2026: is to be braver, to put myself out there, and try to be in more reader spaces. Oh my god.
Listen,
I'm not. I'm not there yet with being perceived. Like I'm just not. I'm working. I'm working on it. I'm just not there yet.
Hmm.
I'll get there. I'll get there. But yes,
listen. I've only done two so far, so
yeah,
I did my first one last year. It was a lot.
yeah, right.
It was a lot.
I was an author
You
assistant
did
at.
so good too.
It's fun. It was
It's
fun. I
fun.
was an author assistant at Book Bonanza, which was delightful. It was
Ooh.
huge and massive and chaotic. And then I was like, oh, this might be bigger fish than I. But I was an assistant, so it was just like me looking at it, being like, I don't think I can have an entire table at something like this. It's not.
Don't put yourself down.
No,
You
well,
good?
that's your brain does that, and then you got to talk your brain out of it. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
doing. I'm talking my brain out of it.
Well, ladies, I've had a pleasure chatting with y'all. I know we spent a lot of time talking about a topic and not necessarily your book, so I did want to give you the opportunity to kind of drop that in and talk a little bit about your own work. But
Please talk about my books.
No,
No, baby.
if you have learned anything from me in this visit or on social media, you know what my books are
I mean, yeah, but for folks who might discover it and don't know, duh.
about.
But I wanted to really I wanted to explore like some of the topics that I've been doing with this season and what I will do with next season of Rae's Corner is talking about um, situations happening within publishing and with as authors or as readers or whatever. Because yeah, we talk about our books all the time, but we don't necessarily talk about stuff like this. And I think it's a good way to know more about an author or whatever, and we don't necessarily like yeah you might read it but everybody don't see everything,
Yeah.
so I wanted to do that. So thank y'all for coming on and chatting about it.
Thanks
It
for
Thank you
was
for
having
having
me.
us.
yes. So this has been Ray's Corner. I want to thank Lindo Forbes and Lady Marie for giving us some realness and some deep conversation about an interesting topic that folks try to avoid but fail very, very, very miserably at doing. And so we also learned a little bit about their craft and some of the things that they enjoy writing and some of the things they enjoy reading. So make sure if y'all heard a recommendation about something, go check it out. And as a reminder, nobody puts Ray in a corner unless she's gushing over books. We out.